for the fans.
Yeah, these are going very quickly through, and they're very similar to yesterday as well. But one key thing here, Origen banning out the Lulu here removes the chance of that the Cogmore comp that they ran yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. And we did have a bunch of picks coming through. I believe they went out of the lobby and back into it, so they were like halfway through the champion select. Now they're just going through it. So yeah, we had Ari, Lee Sin, and Corki from Origen, and then the Hecarim, Janna, and we were just waiting for the next couple picks from Mouse.
So right, we've got a lot to digest. Where exactly are we at right now? Mouse going for Xaxus on that Hecarim again. We saw it yesterday. It did not work as well as they needed to. He was 1, 4, and 5 coming out of that game. On the other side, Amazing picking up the Lee Sin. That's what he played yesterday when they were playing with that Cogmore composition, this time opting for the Corki. So honestly, Origen already forming a very strong kind of mid-game, fighting around Dragon kind of comp. And there's a lot that Mouse are going to have to cope with against this. And they've got a lot of options, but this has gone so fast that I'm trying to digest what exactly is available.
Okay, so what Mouse did do is they did pick up the Hecarim again, and even though we didn't see that work out yesterday, apparently they think, well, Xaxus has enough experience on the champion, we can make it work this time around and maybe fight Origen at their own game of controlling those objectives. But we do have the, what people are considering to be a top-tier pick of Swazrani now coming into this.
But we are on 5.4.
Correct.
Just to keep everybody in the loop, we haven't gone on to 5.5 yet, so this is the Sejuani pre-jungle changes. She's still quite strong, but at the same time, this isn't the Sejuani that's super top tier that everybody is talking about. Ezreal, also a flex pick here, could potentially go mid. Haven't seen it too much in the AD carry role, especially not in Europe. Still a possibility, so Mouse are keeping their options open.
Yeah, again, could see that double AD, but Origen did take away the Corki, so he's typically in those double AD compositions, and they have moved that away. Origen now just waiting for the next 2 picks, of course.
Another very common pick here when you've got an Ezreal is, and it happens a lot over in LCK in Korea, you might see something, depending on the amount of hard engage that comes here out of Origen, you might see something like a Cogmore, if they really want to go for it, down as this last pick. It is highly dependent on what the support and now top lane choices are out of Origen. It's on Mouse's playbook. Maokai's pretty hard engaged here, and if they can get Maokai in the back, that would really mess this up. But honestly, there's a good few options here for Mouse. They're looking either for the mid laner or the AD carry. Yeah,
so as you mentioned, they do have the Maokai coming into the top lane, the Thresh for the support, so Origen do have their full composition now. But yeah, as you mentioned, Mouse is within their playbook, but the Lulu was taken away here by Origen, so they wanted to do a kind of Juggernaut type composition. That's moved away, so it's kind of
really be that Juggernaut.
Yeah, right. So it would just be the Cogmore on its own, maybe with this Ezreal in the mid lane. But yeah, they have some time to spare. So yeah, it could be the AD carry, or they might just go with something more generic in the mid lane.
They've got to pick something into the Ahri matchup. We saw Diana at IEM. I'm waiting to see exactly how much Challenger have been playing it and who they're playing it into.
We didn't see it yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't see it in any of yesterday's games, which is the intriguing thing to me because of how much we saw it at IEM. There's a lot of options, and it's not a Cogmore, but it's along the same kind of lines. It's an AD carry that is going to scale very well here for Mouse.
Yeah, so we have the full composition now for Mouse as well. They're running with the same Hecarim for the engage as they did yesterday, but they also have the Swazrani with it this time. So they have 2 methods. If the running horse doesn't manage to get it in, then maybe the Swazrani can pick up the pieces.
Yeah, in theory, you look at this kind of comp out of Mouse, they've got a lot of good engage tools. They've got the Sejuani ultimate and the Hecarim ultimate to get themselves into the fight and close the gap, and if they can get them low enough Jinx, you can get excited and just clean up the fight. However, they've got to go up against Origen, and team fighting Origen is a very tough task. They've pulled off the Cogmore comps very well. This time, they won't have that dip in the mid-game that they require to get ahead. They've got Corki, who you reach that Triforce spike. Ahri, you reach 1.5 items, and you've got a lot of damage. There's a lot to contend with here for Mouse.
Yeah, like yesterday, of course, we were talking about how they controlled the objectives really, really well. But in this one, they just don't really have that dip at all. So yeah, it will be difficult for Mouse for sure. But before the game gets underway, make sure to answer the Traveler's Call and chime in on Twitter using the hashtags OGWin and MSWin, depending on who you think will come out victorious. And we'll check in with your responses later in the match.
Whew, we can take a minute to breathe after the magical journey that was a fast champion select, because that went through quite quick.
Yeah, it
so
did.
I'm sure there'll be things that we'll pick up in game that,
indeed.
that you know, are results of that champion select. But certainly that Mouse is bringing something a little bit different to what we normally see from them. I kind of like this setup. It means if they do go late, if Mouse can drag Origen fairly late, they should be a little bit better off. Yesterday, they managed to stretch Origen's win to 35 minutes. If they do the same, Jinx is going to be very strong.
That's true, but it always felt like Origen was leading the game themselves.
Always.
That's the game that they wanted to play. So it's like, yeah, we'll go to 35 minutes, but that's because we want to, not because we can finish in 25. That's the way we're going to play out this game. So yeah, if Mouse dictate the pace of this game, which is not something I've actually said about Mouse over the last couple of weeks, so if they can make that change, then yes, I agree completely. But if they've got a composition to do it, they definitely have it here with the double AD. Like, they have that mid-game to try and go up against them with the Swajani. They have the ability to engage on them. So the tools are their stress. Can they use the tools to actually, you know, to their full effectiveness?
That's the question. It's always the execution.
It is indeed. So we will now get into game and answer all of those questions, as we do now have Origen on the blue side going on to the Rift. And now Mouse in the red-hand side. Zazas on the Hecarim for the top lane. Have been seeing a lot of diversity in the top lane and a lot of new junglers as well. As you mentioned, this is 5.4, so the junglers are largely the same as they were, and you're used to seeing, of course, all over the world. LCS, I believe, will be moving on to the next patch tomorrow, and we'll begin the cycle. But yeah, the double AD composition from Mouse.
Yeah, it's very different to what we've seen. Now, I do from time to time drop into a couple of different challenger games, and I have seen SozPureFect playing Ezreal just a little bit, but nothing to really write home about. He's not a player that has just been spamming Ezreal games 24/7. So I'm interested to see how Mouse as a team will react to this different composition. Mithy maybe looking to set something up very early on. Hook lands.
Oh, Zazas did not have a good game yesterday, and it looks like this is going to go not too differently. First blood with the Ignite goes right to Mithy.
That is such an important first kill here, and it's so early on as well that Origen should be able to just establish vision and back away, maybe even get themselves some extra pods or extra items here. But you can see Origen taking full control, spotting out any chance of a lane swap up in the top side of the map. But it doesn't look like that Mouse were even looking to go for one.
Yeah, that's pretty much optimal vision control coming out from Origen right there. Got all the wards down in the opposing jungle. And you can see Soaz even setting up his saplings on the enemy Raptors here. This is not something we typically see, because you usually do it on your own camp and then maybe teleport to top lane, but he has the opportunity to do it. And they've opted for the lane swap by going for that engage. Yeah, invade, sorry.
I mean, Mouse right now know that they're on the red buff, or Amazing is. So what they've done is invade in the lower side of Origen, and Zaz is going to try and regroup a little bit here, tries to get in on a gank. Now, this is going to cost Zazis a little bit here, because he now has to race back to try and get to red buff, which has already died. So he's not getting any of the experience that you'd normally see when a top laner goes around with a jungler. So this is going to punish Zazis whenever he wants to try and get back to the lane. And it'll be interesting to see whether Niels is freezing that top lane and is going to be able to zone out the melee range Hecarim, or whether they'll look for this gank in the middle lane, potentially with the 3 players.
Well, they're going to try it for sure. Peke is really pushed up, and SozPureFect does have damage to offer. Level 1 Zazas comes in with his E. Robin comes across with the Arctic Assault. Does not connect as Peke jumps over the wall. Amazing is there to catch up with his ally. Yeah,
Peke knew that there could not be anybody in the top side jungle. As soon as he saw Hecarim and Sejuani, nice escape, but that is a flash blown early on. And we saw that when Peke had his flash down yesterday, another gank out of Robin could potentially pick up another early kill in a game for Mouse.
Yeah, this is very messed up for the start of this game. Definitely don't have those traditional 2v2s, and we do have this lane swap with Zazas now trying to get all the experience he can, now only dinging level 2 himself. Amazing has been doing the same, but of course his bot lane of Soaz is well more suited to being in a 1 versus 2, so he's sitting down at bot lane, is leading in that farm and levels over Zazas. And as you see in that bot lane, not taking all that much damage, will have the sap magic to keep himself sustained.
And it's really important here. Soaz has managed to hit level 3 in this bottom lane without even using his teleport. On the other side, Zazas, who is not taking flash because he's Hecarim, has used his teleport to get back into lane. Look how far the wave is away from Zazas. He's in a lot of trouble here against Mithy.
Yeah, stray Mithy. He needs to land the hook and does not land it. That means the end of that engage for Origen. That would have been really nice for them to exacerbate that lead onto the top lane.
Yeah, that could have been huge there. If that hook had landed, that was another dead Hecarim in this game. Hecarim, but you can see that Origen knew where the wave needed to be to zone Hecarim away, and we'll see if they can continue that pressure. Whereas Soaz in the bottom lane, he's going to be okay. This is a stage where Maokai is fine. You can see Zaz is still in trouble.
Yeah, they did land the flay. Doesn't land the death sentence, so that will not be a death sentence for Zaz's, as Niels will just carry on freezing the wave down there. Bot lane is doing pretty much the same. Cedric and Mountain, you can see. And again, Robin coming in from the side, maybe just looking to assist Zaz's in this farming expedition.
But the fact Robin has to sit here is going to give Amazing the chance to go in mid as well. So there's just so much more action on the map from Amazing because they're reading Robin all the way around the map. Didn't manage to get anything in the mid lane, but you can see that Amazing, seeing Robin, can just go wherever he wants on this map.
Yeah, already we were talking about in Champion Select whether Mouse can dictate the pace of the game, and so far Origen have already done it themselves with the lane swap, but now Amazing trying his hand at top lane again. This time Zazas was able to get back to turret, even despite the lack of defensive summoner. Robin there as well, just able to zone him away, but he's spending all of his time babysitting and not really doing what he wants to do, and they're already on the back foot, already having to react to what Origen are doing in this game.
This is a little problematic for Soaz. He's been forced into a bit of a trade here, mainly because of how the wave's shoving out. He's being forced to use his saplings and his Q to just pick up as much CS as he can, and Cedric isn't pushing the wave through with those rockets, so it's always kind of pushing in towards Mouse. Makes it risky for Soaz, but again, Robin's still top lane. There's no way that they can have three people there to pressure that lane out, because Ezreal's not going to do that this early either. So as much trouble as Soaz is with regards to getting CS, he's still able to get experience in that lane.
And Amazing is at top lane for the third time in this game, and it will be third time lucky because Soaz is using his teleport. They had the teleport advantage, and now Soaz tries to go backwards, but he knows he's not going to escape. They just tried to go for the fight on the turret. How clean will this be from Origen? Soaz is dropping low. He gets ignited. He goes back into the fight. Amazing takes one more tower shot. He'll have to flash away. Very close to dying, but overall, they drop 0 kills and get 2 and 0 in the top lane.
Oh, Soz Perfect. Here we go. Ultimate's going to come through.
I'm not sure if that's in the right place.
It's going to hit Origen, though.
Yeah.
Ooh, very close. And our observer's thinking exactly what I was. As soon as Amazing flashed up, I was thinking, how close to 6 is Soz Perfect? And he already had it. But speaking of 6, Peke has level 6 as well. He's roamed down here to hold a big wave pushing in and make it so that that tower doesn't get any damage on it really at all out of Mouse.
That was just really well thought. So as in the top lane, Peke knowing how fast the bot lane is going to push, just moves in there. That means Amazing can rotate into the mid lane and just keep all the bases covered. But we're going to see that once more.
Yeah, so with the teleport coming through from Soaz, you can see that already Mouse are in a bit of trouble here. And they just got to juggle the aggro here. Good play onto both people, either side of the turret out of Mithy. Soaz is going to get out, but then jump back in using the lantern, and Amazing is just doing so much damage at the back. Robin's going to fall and has to burn his flash to get out. But interesting at that point, you've got to take into account that Ahri and Ezreal in that middle lane is something that we just briefly caught during the end of that replay. Is actually Amazing getting caught out himself.
Yeah, he just managed to click on the lantern. However, there's the Ezreal ultimate, the True Shot Barrage, plus the auto attacks from the Arcane Shift. Might be enough damage. And Mithy is there to zone him away using Flay, but he almost gets tagged by the Zap. He'll have to flash away and burn some more summoners himself. And Mouse were able to catch them off guard as Origen were in their jungle, but didn't manage to get all that much from it. Just a couple summoners, which is not too bad going.
Great play by Mithy playing blocker there. Knew he had to block any Mystic shots that were coming out here, but you can see this is the difference in mid laners here with regards to the Ahri-Ezreal matchup. Ezreal roams out of lane, but he can't. But Ahri can easily pressure the turret as she's doing right now. Compare that to when Ahri roams to bottom lane. Ezreal, as much as he can push turrets, his wave clear is pretty limited when his ultimate is not available. You're relying on Q and auto attacks, and that doesn't give you the fastest pushing time, whereas Peke Qs through the wave, he gets up to the turret, and now he's free to roam again up to the top lane. No ultimate available for Zazas yet here. He's still only level 5, and remember, no flash. He's relying on that if he has to escape this gank, and so stops the recall.
Oh, this is not looking good. Spirit Rush, auto attack, Spirit Rush, and that's a dead Hecarim in the top lane. This pick, again, not working out for them. They put all their eggs in one basket, and even though they knew it didn't work yesterday, still try it again. And bot lane this time is now the 2 versus 2. Cedric finding himself not as strong as that top lane. Moving into the bot lane now from Origen. That duo lane is definitely far ahead with the Corki and Fresh.
honestly, Origen are playing around the limitations of this Mao's composition very well here. You can see that, again, another successful roam out by Ari. Ezreal can't do anything with it, and a bottom lane engage because they know Robin has to cover the top side of the map because of how much pressure Origen are putting up there. And Origen can just trade that kind of trade in the bottom lane again and again, and there's nothing really that Maus can do here.
Yeah, there is a significant gold lead building up at just 10 minutes into this one. 3,000 gold advantage to Origen, plus that tower advantage in the mid lane, meaning Peke can just go from lane to lane. You can see bot lane is kind of just being bullied around. They were equal CS, but now Niels is starting to get the upper hand.
One thing Maus have to do, though, is as we get towards the first dragon that Origen may attempt fairly soon, is they have good kind of execution damage when you look at their globals together. The Ezreal ultimate, the Jinx rocket. If you can hit both of those at the same time, Origen may underestimate the damage that is going to come at that moment in time and could get the picks that they need to. However, Origen still have got you know, a fair amount of kills, a fair amount of items on the board. Hecarim has just opted for his level 3 boots as well there with the Mercury treads, or level 2 boots, if you'll excuse my bad maths. But wow. Yeah, he's looking for the home guard, but he's not got there yet, and he's died 3 times. That's a tough spot to be in. Yeah,
he kind of wants to get that before a potential dragon play as well, if he can get the teleport down. We saw multiple failed attempts before when he's used that pick, but if he can make it work this game, then they've got the Swajrani ultimate on top of that. And as you mentioned, the 2 big globals from Cedrin and Soz Pure Effect, and now he's trading up against Soaz.
Peke's on the roam again. He's got his ultimate available. Xaxus does have a tower up still and his ult, so Xaxus should be okay.
Yeah. Got the ult, got the teleport, got the ignite if Peke decides to dive.
Got a ward as well.
Yeah, he has everything. He has all the safety systems in place. This means he shouldn't die. And so far it looks to be the case. As he teleports back to base, I believe he should have enough for home guards.
Is that the equivalent of, you know, like a fingerprint scanner, but it's like a hoof scanner? You've got to, like,
maybe
put the Hecarim.
And Peke didn't pass, because she doesn't have hooves.
Foxes aren't horses.
Confirmed. In bot lane, Jinx is not a horse, but she is pushing in and winning the race to push to that tower. And home guards have still not been picked up by Xaxus, so he will be able to teleport into the fight, but maybe not have the same effect that he wants to. Top tower did go down to Origen, so now leading in turrets still, and just increasing that lead with another tower to the name. Robin in the bot lane. That wasn't warded, but a good read from Niels.
And the reason he gets that read, with mid tower down, and Ari and Maokai in the top side jungle with Amazing already venturing into the enemy bot side jungle, there's only 2 places really that Robin can be. He's either down into that tribush or in the lane. And honestly, that's just good reading out by Origen.
Yep, just a smart play, and now they start to congregate around that dragon area. We do see the Ezreal ultimate coming down mid lane, maybe to scout more than anything, or maybe to start clearing that wave there, but Amazing shows his face in the bot lane. Peke will not do the same, but he does appear at the bot lane.
One of the reasons that Ezreal just ulted mid is, although it was already pushing in towards him and would have kind of bounced off the turret, he can't risk Origen taking the dragon and then all going mid and pushing the tower. The hook has landed in the bottom lane.
A lot of damage onto Robin. He'll have to flash away. There's the Monsoon for the healing more than anything else. We'll get the disengage as well from the minions falling to the turret. And Origen look to keep up the aggression, keep up the pressure with the next minion wave flowing in.
Yeah, next minion wave has joined. There's a lot of people here for both teams. Both teleports are available. Hook has landed again, but it's only on Soz Pure Effect.
He'll get the Arcane Shift away. Peke is just on the front lines. Great Arctic Assault by Robin.
Really nice, and a good knock-up there out of Janna as well. Yes, Janna gets the kill, but that, if nothing else...
What?
Got him. Got him. I'm assuming that's George, perhaps, I'm assuming that's the core JJ thing where he put it over the profile pick over on the left-hand side, but that's unfortunate. Hashtag challenge a big plays. But where was I? Good knock-up out of Janna. Yes, they gave Janna the kill, but if nothing else, it kind of puts a pause button on Origen, because now that Peke's off the map, that's a lot of their map presence that is not there for the next 30 seconds, but it was a good pickup.
Yeah. Good pickup indeed. Amazing now pushing in the middle lane, keeping up the pressure over the map. Oh, cue to the Raptors. The old bait and switch by Amazing picks up the Raptors. Robin is on the wrong side of the wall. He'll get kicked away into the minions. And I'm going to say worth. Ultimate and the psychological mind games onto Robin is enough for me.
He was in, Amazing was in a little bit of trouble there, so good way of getting out. Nice, the old switcheroo. Little unfortunate thing for Amazing was that pink ward pops his Raptors. That's a really annoying thing to do. Not only is it a pink ward, but it's also a pink ward that you don't even kill in the end, because you never saw where it was. So little unfortunate. Amazing will be happy to get out of there with his life and not having to burn Flash either. So Origen, they are pretty far ahead right now, but over on the other side, Mouse do have the home guard now onto Xaxus. So Origen really do have to start fearing these teleport ganks out of Xaxus with the ultimate. They didn't work out yesterday. Will they work out today?
Yeah, that is the real question. As we've spoken about their good team fight, if they can layer all these big ultimates together. Soaz does have his own trump cards in the form of his ultimate, being able to mitigate some of that AoE damage. Soaz Pure Effect picking up the blue buff there, and is able to get his ultimate on a fairly low cooldown as he constantly hits those minions, constantly reduces the cooldown of his ultimate using Mystic Shot. So Dragon has not been attempted by either team yet, as we had a lot of action down at the mid lane that was trying to be the catalyst for Origen to move into that one, but didn't decide to do so. Amazing now aggressing into this jungle. And as we've had these kind of prolonged laning phases, in the top lane, we had that big swap at the beginning. Soaz has overall come out ahead now, is around 30 CS ahead of Xaxus.
Yeah, he has. He's got a good lead, but the other thing is because of the roaming that Xpeke has done from the middle lane, he's a little bit behind on CS. He's been constantly shoving into Soaz Pure Effect, so there is a bit of a CS lead on this Ezreal. First Dragon of the game is going to go over to Origen. Good attempt, though. There was no real warding there. They were just kind of... Well, they've de-warded. We know where they are. Good attempt.
Yeah, and basically they've got an almost perfect Dragon timer as well, if they want to set up for the next one. So, not all lost from Mouse as they lose the first Dragon of the game.
Ooh,
Amazing on the top side. Good ultimates coming in. Robin will keep up the chase. Xpeke hasn't used his ultimate just yet. Robin takes so much damage in return. Peke will jump in, take some damage from Soaz Pure Effect. He tries to tag him as he exits the fight. Comes in with another Mystic Shot. Will chase up onto Niels as well. Does land a hook, though. He'll have to jump away. Lands the cleanse to get out of the death sentence. Soaz did come in from the top lane. Uses that teleport. Uses the Righteous Glory as well. Long range Twisted Advance underneath the turret onto Mountain. Is this too deep, though? Xpeke comes in for the kill. Xaxus returns with his ultimate. Lands onto the backside of Amazing, but does not fear him into the turret. Only fears him away. And this is going downhill for Mouse.
Yeah, this was not a good fight in the end for Mouse. And the teleport came out from Soaz. Good use of that Righteous Glory. That's fairly, a good pickup for this point of the game. He uses it to great effect here. And honestly, Origen are so far ahead off that team fighting right now. Niels, he had just reached a very important point of the game. He just got his Trinity Force, and then they engage on him. Sejuani gets the ult. They thought they had the follow-up damage, but it was a little bit too late out of Mouse, and Corki with Trinity Force is going to lay so much damage down.
Yeah, Origen played the power spikes really well. Had the Trinity Force, had the Morellonomicon even, and the Warrior Enchant with Amazing for the jungle. They just had everything they needed. All of the conditions were right to go for that bot lane engage. Ezreal once again ulting the mid lane wave, just trying to keep some of these waves back just so they're not always on the back foot, constantly having to sit underneath their turrets and always try and just repel the assault from Origen.
Well, this is what Origen have done week after week, is they've made sure all three lanes were pushing. Yes, they've had comps which maybe are a little bit less serious with the double banner of command that they did in, I think it was week 2, but that's just Origen's game plan, is they're always going to be pushing because there's nothing you can do as a defensive team if you have all of those towers down. If minions are pushing in every wave, you have to play nearly a perfect game when it comes to warding and vision control, and Mouse have done far from that so far.
I always feel like it's very risky, though, specifically against this composition of Mouse, because they have so much ability to engage underneath the turret. But not if Soaz does it first, though, with the Arcane Smash. We'll be finding Robin for the first trophy of the fight. Soaz will be backing off to his team and just responds with a couple more autos as the team is hammering away on this turret. They run out of the minion line, though, and they will respond with this damage. Soaz Pure Effect gets dragged into the team with Death Sentence. Double kill for Niels. 3, 0, and 4 right now. Xpeke uses the last charge of his ultimate to clear out the minion wave, and they'll try and aggress onto this in the turret in the bot lane.
Yeah, Hecarim ult, I believe, is available or soon to be. He just comes up now, but it's not fast enough to save the turret. And aside from the first 2 hooks up in that top lane where Mithy was trying to hit Xaxus, Mithy has been on point with his hooks so far. And that's something that, as a team, we've talked about how, Peke, Amazing, so as Niels, they all carry games. Mithy's putting some results up here as well. That's one thing that you can never overlook.
Taking turns, carrying the game. But 83% of you think that Origen will take this game. Not a bad bet. Mouse are sitting on 17%, which is a little higher than I was expecting, honestly. For the 0-7 team, they've come close to winning games. And, well, as you mentioned, with a team with nothing to lose, they are quite dangerous. But so far, this is not going their way. That being said, they could come up with one good team fight that may control the ebb and flow of the game so far. Niels in the bot lane now has gone for that Trinity Force, is now sitting on his Bilgewater Cutlass, so he's actually looking towards the Blades of the Ruin King build here.
Yeah, which is actually quite interesting. So typically I would think that would be fine because you're against a Sejuani who's going to build health, you're going to build health on Hecarim as well. Yeah, you're going to build Hecarim. But, you know, Blade of the Ruin King's going to be fine for that later, but it's going to kind of reduce how much damage you should have in the next 5 to 10 minutes and give them a better later game. I wonder whether Origen are just kind of preparing for Mao's kind of hunkering down like they did yesterday. Yeah. The difference being that yesterday Origen had that Cogmore, so Origen were fine to let it get that late. I still don't think there's too much of a problem here for Niels. It's still going to give him a good amount of damage here. I just feel like they could be punishing them even more here, maybe with something like a Bloodthirst or just another flat damage item.
Yeah, perhaps practicing the slow game here for certain, or maybe not, as Soaz engages underneath the turret. There's the Monsoon for the disengage, comes through with the True Shot Barrage coming through onto the team of Origen. Be doing some damage. Miffy does not connect the hook, but that is a Lee Sin Q onto Sedrin. Doesn't go full Lee Syndrome and go in on it, though.
Yeah, it doesn't indeed. But here's actually one reason why perhaps Niels has got it, is look at how far he is sitting in front of the team. We talk about how Niels' teamfight positioning is very good normally. This is still fine for him. I just wonder whether it's for that extra kite potential, so that if he gets hit by a Sejuani ultimate or a Hecarim ultimate, things that are very hard to dodge, he's got that there as an escape tool. It buys Mithy a little bit more time before he can get his Mikhail's Crucible as well. So overall, it's still a fine item, just a little bit less damage.
Yeah, and if you play the Ruin King's a Hecarim who's moving at the speed of light, then he'll also move super fast. So you run at me, I'll just run away faster. And now they have taken the bottom inhibitor, or rather the bottom inner turret, the middle inner turret, and now they're looking towards the top one as their next prize. They do clear away the minion wave. Great ultimate by Robin, moves on to Niels. He is on the front lines. Use the Valkyrie to go back, but the hook, always the savior of the fight, will be Miffy, getting the hook onto Sedrin. They take him down, landing another charm onto the support as well. The bot lane bites the dust. Zazas comes in with the ultimate, the onslaught of shadows, misses. And Soz Purefect also gets dragged into the team. More CC and more CC. Niels comes in for the triple. He's hungry for his Quadra. Looks for one more auto attack. Not quite enough. Has the Valkyrie away. Soz Purefect was able to get away from that one and avoids the ace. But it might as well been. It has the same effect. They're going to take up the top turret.
Yeah, it might as well have been. We've got to watch out for the timer on Ezreal coming up in about 10 to 15 seconds. But at the same time, Origen, just again, Miffy with another good hook. Great hook. And Soaz even pushing down, I believe, in the bottom lane as well. Was that a 4v5 against Mouse in that situation? Ezreal was used to clear out bottom lane. We'll take a look at it again, see if it was a 4 versus 5. Yes, Soaz is still down in the bottom lane, so didn't even choose to come across to this fight. Had his teleport available. You can see that Origen were just in full control of this. Great hook, first onto Jinx, charm onto Mountain, and then it's the Niels show. He figures, okay, you've used everything that you can to hold me back here, so I'm just going to flash forward and jump on you. And Zazas has had about as much luck today on his Hecarim ults as he did yesterday. Just really couldn't get himself into the game, and Niels will be a little bit disappointed he didn't get the Quadra there. I think he thought the auto had gone off before he went back out of the base. Yeah,
little unfortunate, but hey, not too bad when you're 11,000 gold ahead with 6 towers and 10 kills over your opponent. And that was, well, a 4v4 for most of it, as Zazas did come in at the end and ulted when his team was already dead. So it was a 5v4 for a couple seconds. But now Origen now into the top jungle, securing that vision control, making sure they have everything on their side. There is only one ward on the map currently from Mouse.
Yes, the vision control has not been so good for Mouse. Very interestingly, attempt to steal the Baron.
Close.
And that would have been a good ult hit if it had been about 10 seconds later. But interesting enough, Niels, after that fight, he had a dagger. Now he's gone and bought himself a BF sword after selling the dagger and a pickaxe. So he's saying to himself now, okay, I don't even need that Blade of the Ruined King. Just give me the bilge water. I'm going to go for an Infinity Edge. So he kind of was along the same mindset that, okay, as soon as I can kite, I'm good to start dealing damage again. And you can see he doesn't have his flash available, so he does have to be a little bit more careful in this next coming fight. But this is a lot of damage being done to the inhibitor tower at 24 minutes.
Yeah, Robin taking some damage from the poke from Origen. If they decide to tower dive, they don't even need to. The tower's already taking a bunch of damage, and they just head back to Baron. They have utter control over the top jungle. And Mouse, if they were to try and contest this, Origen will see them a mile off, and they can do whatever they want to do. They just have such control over this game.
They do, and they have such control over the European Challenger Series.
Yeah. This will make them 8-0 if they win this game.
When you look at just the results that they've had, oh, Robin, don't go in that bush. Ezreal is going to clear out top lane. Again, using that ultimate on cooldown. But Ezreal is really desperate for items right now. Normally at this point in the game, you should have the Trinity Force and the Muramana already there. This is about the kind of time you'd expect that tier to have been completed, maybe for a couple of minutes already. And the fact that he's still only on the tier here, I want to take a look at exactly. He is fully stacked. He just can't afford the upgrade. That is such a dire situation to be in. Turret goes down in favor of Mouse. That's the first one of the game.
Baron went down to Origen as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You trade an outer tower for Baron. Origen are just so far ahead.
Well, a trade's a trade, I guess. And now they're moving on to the Dragon, so they might be able to pick this up, but maybe at the cost of their top turret here for the inhibitor. Xpeke is leading the charge. They have the Baron's up minions as well, and that Ezreal ultimate didn't even scratch the minions. Yeah,
all it did was hit the empowered siege minion, and there's really nothing that's going to do here. This is Origen just starting to close it out. Oh, that sums up a lot.
They're going to try and go for the fight, though. Here comes the Onslaught of Shadows. They do pick up the kill onto Miffy, but they lose their top lane. They lose the front line. It's the back line only surviving in this fight. There goes Mountain. Soz, Purefect, and Sedrin have to hold up a stellar defense, but 25 minutes into the game, it looked like a slow burn, but Origen have turned up the heat and are now closing in, maybe even for the kill. They're going for the jugular for sure. 15-3, they take the top inhibitor.
Yeah, they got to back out a little bit here with them flashing up. There's no need to try and risk any kind of play here against Mouse, who are well behind here. Origen know they can just kind of go back to the base, sell, buy new items, make sure that they're all at full strength. Mouse did just hit a bit of an item. I don't want to say spike too much, because that implies that it's a great point for them. The Muramana is now complete for Ezreal, but it's not going to be doing damage against a Lee Sin who has a Randuin's Omen and a Chain Vest, a Maokai who has Righteous Glory, Frozen Heart, a Chain Vest and Cloth Armor alongside it as well, and Ninja Tabi. There's just so much armor that there is not a lot that this double AD composition out of Mouse can do to the Origen lineup.
Right, so Mouse are pushing out of their base. Maybe they can get... Okay, never mind. Soaz has found them. So... yeah, they tried to play a desperation play more than anything, heading out of the base, maybe trying to get a pick onto Xpeke on a separated team as well. It might have been a 5 versus 4 or a 3 versus 5 if that's what they were looking for. But that was seen out by Soaz, gets the ward down, gets the sapling, and it just goes back to what Origen wants to do. They will just use the Barons up, siege minions, and just head into the base and grind Mouse out of this game.
Yeah, and as you said, top lane going to start pushing in. Origen don't even have to fear Mouse as they take a step on to the fountain. The bottom lane inhibitor is going to die as well, and Mouse have looked... Origen have looked so good. Mouse just haven't showed up here in this Wednesday game. It's such a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, and Origen looking to make a clean victory here, taking the bottom inhibitor, looking to do the same in the mid lane as well, making sure every objective goes their way. So similar to what we saw in Game 1 on Tuesday. And they will go for the last engage. Robin comes in with the ultimate, only lands onto 2 people, but no one is close to deal with the damage. And as you mentioned, they've hit power spikes, but it doesn't mean anything because they just don't have damage at all. Down goes Mountain, down goes Sedrin. Triple kill comes out for Xpeke, and they will be closing out the game. Origen will be taking their second game in Week 4. They are now 8-0. Origen taking up the Nexus, and Mouse are completely eliminated from the spring split, 0-8.
It's such a tough spot here for Mouse, and that means Origen are now undisputed first in the round robin.
No one can catch them.
Yeah, so nobody can catch them for first spot. They get the seeding for first spot into the playoff bracket. Remember, it's not round robin that gets the automatic spot. It's out of the playoffs, so Origen aren't yet there. They still have a lot of work to do, but they've been looking very convincing.
Yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned, they will be #1 seed, so whoever takes 4th seed is not in for a great time.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about that later as well, and what that means for the teams all tied up at the middle of the table, because there's a lot to go on there. And for those teams, they really need to start picking up some wins so they avoid the Origen.
They do indeed, but if you then have to face Origen, there's kind of like a glaring question here. We know Origen play a little bit better when they're on the live broadcast. They're Tuesday games are still convincing, but maybe not as convincing. Niels is still yet to die in our broadcasted games on a Wednesday.
Yep. Apparently, yeah, it's just his superpower.
Yeah.
I go on screen and I just don't die, and it'd be interesting to see if he keeps it up in both promotions and LCS if he gets there.
Yeah, indeed. That's a big, big question.
Well, we need to wait for a new shipment of minions to be delivered, but when it arrives, we'll be set for our second game between Lowland Lions and Reason Gaming.